because I don't want to waste daylight. Hi. Go ahead. Go. Careful. Yay!
They made a life out here. They made it work, and
oh yeah, I saw that picture.
Yeah, I would like to go to a show.
They filmed a lot of. Now that you guys have been out here, you'll see car commercials. Like, oh, that I know where they filmed that.
Right there.
They filmed so many car commercials out here. Because you can take like the ugliest car and put it up here and put it on these roads.
I regret it, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
As a teen, you're both 18. Yeah, but like younger. When I was like 15, 16.
That.
Hi. So I'm doing my first book review video. Alright, so it's going to be on The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, which I guess I should have looked this up before I started. I think Frankenstein is in the public domain now, so someone wrote a book. That someone is Kiersten White, and the original book is by Shelley. It's a classic. And I also wanted to talk about the movie adaptation of Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. That was pretty good. So I initially read Frankenstein with my book club. I have a little notes and highlighted passages here. Honestly, it wasn't my favorite. I don't know why, but I think I would enjoy it more on a reread. I was interested in the other characters more than I was in Frankenstein himself, and I found that the story structure where he's sitting in the boat, or it's not really a boat, it's stuck in the ice and he's with the Danish ship crew, that dragged for me. That really dragged. So if you haven't heard of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, I understand. I randomly picked this up at the library. It was on like a recommended shelf by one of the library employees, It came out in 2018, and it's about Elizabeth Frankenstein from her perspective. I honestly did not fully comprehend what the title of this book was, other than Frankenstein, and that it was some sort of retelling. But as I started reading it, it's called The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. It just kept getting darker and darker and darker, which makes sense with the story. But she was supposed to be like 15 or 16 years old during this time, and she gets taken in by the Frankensteins to manage Victor's emotions, and they keep her not exactly under lock and key, but they keep her helpless, and they keep her as uneducated as they can, and ignorant and isolated. But she comes to them as a young child, and by the time this book happens, she's like 15 or 16 years old. And sometimes it just feels like reading or being in the mind of an edgy 15-year-old, because she thinks she's playing all these mind games with every single character in the book, which she is. But she's like, because I'm small and beautiful and blonde, they're gonna believe everything I say, or I hope they do. She's trying to use every advantage she has, which I understand, but I think that she still could have had more depth to her character other than that, because she is smart, but she is problematic. One thing that stood out to me, I don't remember her name, but the author added in a new character, an original character, who's a girl, and she plays the niece of a bookseller who ends up getting murdered and chopped up by Victor. And she's like the most chill feminist ever, but it's like the 1800s or something, and it's just not exactly in character. It's an original character, and it's out of character. So at that point, after digesting the title and the cover, which is pink and like a pink satin fabric or silk, and then sewn in Frankenstein, wow, edgy. She's a girl and she's pink. Okay, I don't want to be a hater. I just felt like I was reading fan fiction at a certain point, because I was. And it was kind of predictable too. It was predictable, and I felt like it's in the mind of an edgy 15-year-old. Yeah. Justine, I thought that, at a certain point, after all of her manipulating, because she would keep lying to Justine and also the new original female character, so she could cover up Victor's crimes and sneak away and like burn a building down and all that. I thought Justine would at some point like call her out and be more betrayed, but it was pretty minor, and then she ends up dying, so it's like, okay, so that's it. And then before she ends up dying, maybe it's after she dies, I don't quite remember, but Elizabeth goes with the original character and the monster Frankenstein, and they hide in a cave, and then Victor ends up finding her, and then she gets kidnapped, and then it just didn't make sense to me. I didn't like that. I should have thought of more things to say about that. But I thought that it was like fan fiction, and I didn't enjoy that. But it was a good adaptation. Anyways, it was much more of a character study than it was about the plot. Even though it was about the plot and it was pacing, it was built in, because of Frankenstein's story structure already. So that's good. But I appreciate a character-driven story. Being in Elizabeth's mind, it's incredibly detailed. Incredibly detailed. And she's very emotional too. Well, emotionally descriptive. And there's a lot of things to read in between the lines too. Let me see if I can find something. So yeah, sometimes things are on the nose. Alright, I'm gonna read this. Justine sighed happily. I love that story. She loved it because I told it just for her. It was not entirely the truth, but so little of what I told anyone ever was. I had ceased feeling guilty long ago. Words and stories were tools to elicit the desired reactions in others, and I was an expert craftswoman. That particular story was almost correct. I embellished some, particularly about remembering the villa, because that was critical to lie about, and I always left off the ending. She would not understand, and I did not like to think about it. I can feel its heart, Victor whispered in my memory. I peeked out the edge of the curtain as the city of Ingolstadt swallowed us, its dark stone homes closing around us like teeth. I had taken my Victor and devoured him. I had sent Henry to lure him home, and now I had lost them both. I was here to get Victor back. I would not leave until I had. I had not lied to Justine about my motivation. Henry's betrayal stung like a wound, fresh and raw, but I could survive that. What I could not survive was losing my Victor. I needed Victor, and that little girl who had done what was necessary to secure his heart would still do whatever it took to keep it. I bared my teeth back at the city, daring it to try to stop me. That's from page 11. So, the writing is interesting. It draws you in. You're definitely in her brain, but I hope you can see how it's like reading an edgy 15-year-old. She's like, the dark. I'm having a dark descent right now. Yeah, I get it. Now, about the movie. Okay. I do think Jacob Elordi was a good choice to physically be the monster. And I liked how horror-based it was, how accurate, like, all the practical effects that they used and the gore and the blood is amazing. It also reminded me of Fallout in that way. I liked some of the changes that they did, even though it wasn't 100% faithful to the source material. Like when the old man got ripped apart by those wolves and died, instead of the family coming back and freaking out about Frankenstein being there and being a freak. So, but you know what really distracted me actually? I just saw Wicked Part 1 and Part 2. I actually saw the Part 1 twice. Don't know why. And the huge circular window that Elphaba and Glinda, like, there's a broom. It's a very vital scene and piece of set, but it's like a huge circular window, and I recognized it in Frankenstein, the new adaptation, and it really took me out because I'm like, oh, so they used the exact same soundstage and just decorated it differently. I'm not immersed. Maybe I'm watching too many movies, but I'm not immersed. Could have shot on location, but there's no location. I think I'm just rambling now. Yeah, so I hope you liked my little review. It's a little bit all over the place, but I think it's fine. So The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein and Frankenstein the movie. I would give this book, I would give it 4 stars. I'm taking off a few stars because it's a bit predictable, but maybe that's not its fault because it has to follow the story of Frankenstein. Listen, it's predictable even with the new plot twists that are in here, okay? So it's not just about Frankenstein, the book.